Story number 26, Love in Philadelphia. In Drexel Hill, which is a Philly suburb, there were two high school sweethearts who are 16-year-old Anthony Randall, who is in his junior year, and 14-year-old Zoe Goodwin, who is in her freshman year. They both started dating in September of 2024. Just a week after school started back. They first met in the cafeteria at lunchtime during 5th period, which is when freshmen and junior students eat lunch, while the sophomore and senior students eat lunchtime during 6th period. Every day at lunchtime, they would sit together and have a great time. They are both also devout Christians who come from devout Christian families. Anthony is the youngest of 4 brothers in the Randall family. Zoe is the youngest of 6 siblings in the Goodwin family. In youth group at Hargrove of the MS Church, which is pastored by Adam Hargrove, Zoe and Anthony sat next to each other. Anthony and Zoe are both sports fans. In 3 of the 5 sports, Anthony differs from Zoe, because Anthony is from Scranton, while Zoe is from Philly. Anthony is a fan of the Yankees, New York Rangers, Eagles, 76ers, NYCFC, and Zoe is a fan of the Phillies, Flyers, Eagles, 76ers, and Philadelphia Union. After church on Sunday, October 13th, Anthony and Zoe went on their first date to an Eagles game, which was where the Eagles were taking on the Browns. They both enjoyed the Philly cheesesteaks that they got from the concession stands, and they had a crisp large cup of icy water. Anthony was wearing an Eagles jersey and a Yankees hat, and then Zoe was wearing an Eagles jersey and the Phillies hat. They enjoyed their first date here, and they enjoyed seeing the Eagles obtain a 20-16 victory over the Browns. On the following day, just before school, Anthony left for school early so this way he could pick up his girlfriend and go to Point 76 Cafe just before school. At 7 a.m., they both arrived to Point 76 Cafe, which is their favorite cafe. Around 3 weeks prior, Zoe told her boyfriend that Point 76 Cafe is her favorite cafe, and Anthony was able to relate, as this is also his favorite cafe. Anthony enjoyed a 600 milliliter pumpkin spice latte and a pumpkin spice cream cheese Danish. Zoe enjoyed a 600 milliliter pumpkin spice macchiato and a pumpkin spice scone. They both had a cozy time here at their favorite cafe. They also talked about how purity is important, and then they mentioned the win the Eagles got against the Browns. What made this time cozier is that this cafe plays white noise all day, and they play different types of white noises. The white noise they were playing that morning was autumn rain. Before they left the cafe, Anthony and Zoe both prayed for their next door neighbor who was dealing with a brain tumor that could potentially be fatal. After this, they now headed off to school. Zoe and Anthony went on their next date to a local hiking trail on Saturday, October 26th. It was a nice, relaxing time here, and they enjoyed beholding the beautiful fall foliage and drinking their pumpkin spice lattes they got from Point 76 Cafe. They had theirs put in their metal tumblers, and it was an iced latte, as the high that day was 67 degrees Fahrenheit. As they hiked along the trail, they enjoyed the beautiful nature. At some point during the hike, they sat down on a bench that was in a tree log formation, and they did something that is called stop sitting, which is where you sit on a bench, remain still with silence, and listen to the nature around you. They also spent time in prayer during the process as well. On Black Friday of 2024, they went on a date to a Rangers versus Flyers game, as hockey is their most favorite sport. Zoe was cheering on the Flyers, as Anthony was cheering on the Rangers. They both had fun on this wonderful date. Several weeks later, on the night of Sunday, February 9th, Anthony and Zoe's families both watched the Super Bowl together at the Randall household, as the Randall's house was 25% larger. The family did not feel convicted against watching the Super Bowl, so they watched the game with the exception of the infamous satanic halftime show. When the halftime show came on, the TV was turned off, and the families sang hymns together until halftime was over. Both families were thrilled when the Eagles beat the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59 with a score of 42-22. Throughout high school, Anthony and Zoe created memories together at lunchtime and on dates, and they also kept purity as one of the priorities, and their faith in Jesus being their number one priority. Anthony graduated in June of 2026, and Zoe graduated in June of 2028. In the 2 school years that Anthony and Zoe went to high school together, Zoe was Anthony's prom date in both years, as the school's prom was not dependent on what grade the student was in. This meant that the students could go to prom in all 4 years of high school. In the autumn of 2028, Zoe started attending the same college Anthony is attending. The college they are both attending is Aquinas Bible College, which is close to home. There were also times when they both indulged in late-night texting on the phone late at night, sometimes whenever they didn't have anything important to do at night. For example, it was not done if one of them had to study for a test. They've also gone on several dates to restaurants where they enjoyed the famous Philly cheesesteak. There was this one unique restaurant where Anthony ordered a mega Philly cheesesteak that was enough to feed 2 people. This was on Valentine's Day of 2026. Anthony and Zoe split the mega Philly cheesesteak together, and they really enjoyed it. This mega Philly cheesesteak was called the Lover's Special. It was truly a special deal, as the sandwich was 25% off just for the 3 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day. After college, Anthony planned on becoming a pastor and a photographer. Anthony was called by God to become a pastor. Zoe also dreamed of being a photographer as well. In April of 2030, Anthony and Zoe went on a spring break trip with their friends to the Grand Canyon, and boy did they have an awesome time there. They enjoyed all of the hiking, the rafting, and enjoying the scenery of the canyon there. They spent all of spring break at the Grand Canyon, and they enjoyed the fun there. Anthony graduated from college in June of 2030, and Zoe graduated from college in June of 2032. Anthony and Zoe both got engaged in August of 2032, and then Anthony and Zoe both got married on Sunday, September 19th, 2032. And the wedding they had was wonderful. It was back in July of 2030 when Anthony opened up a new church that is called the Point 99 LCMS Church. He preached his first sermon on Wednesday, July 17th, 2013, as he got the church fully set up a day earlier. Anthony decided not to have a church secretary, but decided to have a co-pastor instead. His brother, Terry Randall, is the co-pastor of the church. The co-pastor manages administrative details of the church and fills in for Pastor Anthony when Anthony is not able to preach due to illness. In early October 2032, Anthony and Zoe both went on a wonderful trip to Big Bear, California, for their honeymoon, and they were on this trip from September 30th through October 4th. They had a beautiful time there. They enjoyed all the beautiful nature there, the fun outdoor activities, and the beautiful scenery. They also took fascinating pictures here and even used some of them for photography.